While moving from A to B, here you are moving from negative potential to positive potential. That means potential is rising. Potential rise is positive. Potential rise. So the potential difference of this cell, if I take it as V, in this case I have to write potential from A to B, I have to write it as plus V. And when you are moving from B to A, potential from B to A, I have to write this as minus V. So here what is the condition is, if you remember only one sentence here, that is, if you remember only one sentence, you can easily remember the sign convention of Kirchhoff's second law. Potential drop is negative, potential rise is positive. Potential rise will be positive. Or inside a conductor, in the direction of current negative, opposite to the direction of current positive. For a cell, when you move from negative potential to positive potential, positive potential to negative potential, it is negative. Now again, let us apply that Kirchhoff's loop law for this circuit. Let us take current I is flowing through the circuit. So here you can take current I is flowing through the circuit, and let us apply this loop law and see how to apply this sign convention. Just we will give a small idea how to follow sign convention while you are applying it to a loop. And again, many applications are there for Kirchhoff's second law when we are solving problems, or tomorrow we will take one or two examples and I will explain how to apply Kirchhoff's KCL as well as KVL. So let us see, for this loop, there is a loop which has resistors as well as cells. Now I will consider a loop ABCDA. Loop selected is ABCDA. ABCDA. As the loop selected is ABCDA, first you start moving from A. Let us assume you are here. You start moving from A to B. When you are moving from A to B, here what happens? There is a resistor. So there is a potential difference. So whether you have to take this potential difference as positive or negative, that you have to think. So when you are moving from A to B, you are moving in the direction of current, and there is a resistor here. So in the direction of current, inside resistor, you have to take it as minus. So potential across AB, I have to take it as minus IR1. Next, you move from B to C. Next, you started from A, you reached B. Now from B you are moving to C. When you are moving from B to C, this is the direction of current. Current is flowing in clockwise direction. So when this is the direction of current, when you are moving from B to C, there is a resistor and you are moving in the direction of current. So inside a resistor in the direction of current, this potential difference you have to take negative. So VBC is equal to minus IR1, minus IR2, sorry. Now you have reached here. Now from here you go towards D. So when you are going towards D, there are two resistors, current flowing is I only. You can observe here, there are two resistors are there and one cell is there. So first there is a resistor. This is a potential drop, because in the direction of current, inside resistor potential drops. So here what you have to write, VCD is equal to, you can write minus IR3. This part you have written already. And next you can observe here, next you have a cell here. This cell, when you are moving from this side to this side, you observe carefully here, you are going from positive end to negative end. So when you are moving from positive terminal to negative terminal, here what happens is potential drops. So inside a cell, when we move from positive terminal to negative terminal, potential difference is negative. When you move from negative terminal to positive terminal, potential difference is positive. So here you will get minus V2, and next after this there is a resistor. Inside the resistor you are going, and this is the direction of current. In the same direction of current you are going, that's why minus IR4. This is potential difference across CD. Now move from D to A. Move from D to A. So now you are at D, moving towards A. So when you are moving from D to A, there is only one cell. There, if you observe here, what happens is you are moving from negative terminal to positive terminal. So when you are moving from negative terminal to positive terminal, here you have to write plus V1. Okay, you have to write plus V1. Now let us add the total potential difference of this loop. VAB plus VBC plus VCD plus VDA is equal to minus IR1 minus IR2 minus IR3 minus V2 minus IR4 plus V1. So if you apply Kirchhoff's second law, according to Kirchhoff's second law, what you can write, this is equal to 0, because you have completed one loop here. So when we have completed one loop, this is equal to 0. Now next case, so this you have to equate to 0. From this we can find either current or potential difference across the cell, or all the resistances or effective resistance also we can find by using Kirchhoff's second law. So sign convention, you should be very careful when you are applying sign convention. Kirchhoff's second law appears to be very simple, but whose application is very difficult. Now next, how to apply this Kirchhoff's second law to a device called Wheatstone bridge. So next we will discuss how to apply to a Wheatstone bridge. Application of Kirchhoff's second law or Kirchhoff's laws to Wheatstone bridge. See, Wheatstone bridge, this is one of the important and famous question in theory exams. What are Kirchhoff's laws? Apply them for Wheatstone bridge, they are going to ask. So what is Wheatstone bridge? It is a network of 4 resistors. You take see the construction of Wheatstone bridge. It has a network of 4 resistors. The name of first resistor, we will take it as P, Q, this is R, this is S, and there is a galvanometer. So this is the network of Wheatstone bridge. Now we are going to apply Kirchhoff's rules for this Wheatstone bridge. So let us name these junctions A, this junction B, this junction you take it as C, this junction you take it as a D. So in order to apply Kirchhoff's laws, first you connect this Wheatstone bridge with a battery of a potential difference V. Now see here, let us take current I is coming out, from the battery. This current will reach the junction here. After reaching the junction, it will divide as I1. Current I is entering, I1 and I2 are leaving. Now come to junction B. See here how we are going to distribute the currents. First, current I is coming out from battery. This current I after reaching junction A, it has two branches. Here you have to apply Kirchhoff's current law. Two branches are there, I1 and I2 are leaving. Now let us come to junction B. At junction B, I1 is coming. Let us take Ig is leaving. Current through galvanometer, I will take it as Ig. And this I will take it as I3. I1 is entering, I3 and Ig are leaving. And next, observe here carefully. Next, when you are coming to junction C, at junction C, you see current I3 is coming. Current I3 is coming. And if you observe at junction D, both Ig and I2 are coming. So Ig and I2 are reaching the junction. So if you give the direction of I4 from C to D, it is wrong. Why? Because already Ig and I2 are reaching D. One more current cannot reach. Why it cannot reach? The reason is, if current is coming, some current should leave. Same amount of current should enter the junction, same amount of current should leave the junction. That is what Kirchhoff's first law says. So here I2 is reaching D, Ig is also reaching D. So I can't give the direction of I4 in this direction. So I have to give the direction of I4 like this. Current I4 will be from D to C, but not from C to D. That reason is, if I give from C to D, Ig will enter the junction, I2 also enter the junction, I4 also enter the junction. So there is no condition to leave. So if you come to junction C here, now when you are coming to junction C, I3 is reaching the junction, I4 also reaching the junction. So it total come out as total circuit, it will circulate as I. So once again I will explain the distribution of current here. Let us consider current I is coming out from the battery. At junction A, I is entering the junction, so I1 and I2 must leave the junction. Next at junction B, I1 is entering, I3 and Ig are leaving the junction. Now at junction D, I2 is reaching, Ig is also reaching, so you must make I4 to leave the junction. But if instead of that, if you give in opposite direction, it is wrong. So I4 must leave from D to C. Now consider junction C, I3 is reaching, I4 is reaching, I must leave. So current I is leaving the battery, I is entering the battery. So this is how current circulation you have to do by using Kirchhoff's laws. Now this is a loop now. Let us take two loops. Let us consider a loop AB, loop AB, DA. So now just consider this loop A, B, D, A. Just you have to see this part only. Now again follow the same principle and same sign convention. Move from A to B. Potential difference across A to B is equal to minus I1 into P. Potential difference across A to B you went, now B to D. Move from B to D. See here, why I took here minus I1P? The reason is, this resistor, you are moving from A to B through the resistor, and current, in the direction of current you are moving, so I have to take minus I1P. And next move from B to D. B to D, potential difference from B to D is equal to minus Ig into G. Next potential difference across D to A. So you start from here, reach B, then reach D, then again D to A. When you are going from D to A, observe here carefully, current is from A to D, but you are moving from D to A. So what you will get? Potential difference VDA is equal to I2, resistor name is, resistor value is R, I2R. According to Ohm's law, potential difference is called I into R. Here R is P here R is R only. So this is total potential difference. So according to loop law, this total potential difference must be equal to 0 minus I1P minus IgG plus I2R is equal to 0. This is when you take the loop ABCDA. Similarly, you take next part. So one part we have completed. So see this circuit. I split this circuit into two parts. First circuit I taken ABDA. Next I am taking BCDB. So let us take the loop BC, loop BC, BCDB, BCDB. Now here let us write directly, we can write B2C minus I3Q, minus I3Q. See here, I am going from B to C. In the direction of resistor I am going, in the direction of current inside resistor, through the resistor I am going. So when we are going from B to C, current is in the direction of current, you have to write minus I3Q. Again from C to D, you have to write plus I4 or I4 S, resistor value is S. And again from D to B you are going, you have to write plus IgG, plus IgG, plus IgG, okay, plus IgG. Now according to Kirchhoff's second law, this must be equal to 0. Equate this to 0. Equate this to 0. Then next you see again here only we can write just at junction A, sorry, at junction B, at junction B, at junction B apply KCL. At junction B apply KCL, means first law. So you stand at junction B and observe what current is coming, what current is going. So you observe here, you stand at B, what current is coming to B, I1 is reaching. So I1 is positive. Take I1 positive. I3 and Ig are leaving. So minus I3, otherwise incoming current is equal to outgoing current. I1 is equal to I3 plus Ig. Next condition, next what you have to do, again apply KCL, apply KCL at junction D. At junction D you apply, junction D. Now at D you see what is the current coming inside, coming into the junction is I2. I2 must be equal to I2 plus Ig. Ig also reaching, must be equal to I4. Okay, this is the application of laws. Now when bridge is balanced, so when we can say that Wheatstone bridge is balanced, and in that case there is no potential difference between B and D. That is the condition for balancing. So this is the normal condition of a Wheatstone bridge. But when bridge is balanced, when we can say that bridge is balanced? When galvanometer deflection is 0. That means no current flows across the galvanometer. Why current will not flow across the galvanometer? Because there is no potential difference. So when potential at A, potential at B and potential at D are equal, we can say that Ig is equal to 0 and we can say that bridge is balanced. So when Ig is equal to 0, when Ig is equal to 0, bridge is balanced. Balanced condition. Balanced condition. Now look at here. Now what we can do this, when Ig is equal to 0, when Ig is equal to 0, now take the equations what we got already. By applying KCL you got, at junction B, I1 is equal to I3 plus Ig. Next you got at junction D you got I3 plus Ig. I3 plus Ig is equal to I4. put Ig is equal to 0, then what you will get? I1 is equal to I3, I3 is I1 is equal to I3, I2 is equal to I4. Sorry, here I have written I3, it is I2 actually. Now again take the two equations of loop law. First loop law, what equation we got? Minus I1p minus IgG and plus I2R is equal to 0. Put Ig is equal to 0, this will become 0. What you will get? I1p is equal to I2R you will get. Again take the next equation, minus I3q plus I4s minus plus IgG is equal to 0. Now this you will get it as I3q is equal to I4s, because this you can take it as 0. Now divide these two equations. Let us take this as one equation, this as two equation. Divide 1 by 2, 1 divided by 2. What you will get? I1p by I3q is equal to I2R by I4s. But from this you know I1 is equal to I3, so these two will get cancelled. I2 is equal to I4, these two will get cancelled. So under balanced condition, what you are going to get? P by Q is equal to R by S. P by Q is equal to R by S. Okay, this is the balanced condition of a Wheatstone bridge. So you have to derive this formula in exams, in theory exams. Okay, this is what about Wheatstone bridge. So all of you subscribe to our channel, and if you have any doubts or any comments, you can drop in the comment section. Thank you.